voice in the background of every single movie that's ever had a jungle scene, ever. It doesn't matter if they're showing an African, a South American, or an Asian jungle, they use this little bird's voice, even though he's from the exact opposite climate. He's from the grasslands of Australia, but they use that voice because it is really cool. You guys want to hear it? Yeah! All right, let's see, buddy. Isn't that awesome? I think that's incredible. Now, it may be an amazing voice, but I think he should be famous for something else. Because this bird here, he's actually the largest member of the kingfisher family, which we have some species here in the United States. And that means this bird here, he's a hunter. He likes to hunt mice, lizards, and even snakes in the grasslands of Australia. And I've seen videos of these birds hunting snakes as long as 6 feet. They'll dive down with that specialized bill of theirs, they grab onto the snake right behind the back of the head, and then they whip it back and forth, until it's like a limp noodle, then he'll start to swallow. Slowly swallowing and digesting that snake over 3 days, while the rest of it's hanging out the corner of his mouth. Sounds weird, works very well for the kookaburra though. Why are you so fluffy? That's cute. Now, somebody here in the U.S. actually fell in love with Kookaburra. They fell in love with that voice and they decided they want to own one of these. And they found a way to purchase one online and brought it into their home. Only this person lived in an apartment complex. And see, this bird here is also known as the Outback alarm clock. Because every single morning at the break of dawn, they let out that call, that The neighbors were not as big of a fan of it as she was. And that's when he was sent to us at our center. Now, I love him a lot, but boy, being woken up by that call every single morning will be enough time to pull my hair out. Kind of like our next guest.
This is Whizzer the turkey vulture, and Jojo are very prone to his hairdo. Now, turkey vultures get up in the morning and the first thing they do is they spread those big, beautiful wings and they start to sunbathe. Kind of like he's attempting to do right now. Once they're nice and warm, they take flight. And when they're up in the air, they do these big, lazy-looking circles. But he's not lazy. He's up there going... He's smelling. He's looking for the grossest, stinkiest, most rotten, disgusting thing that he can find. And when he finds something totally gross, something that's been dead for quite a while, you know what he says? Lunchtime, and he dives down to make a meal out of it. Vultures eat dead stuff. Now, I heard a couple of you say, ew, but if we're all being honest with ourselves, most of us eat dead stuff. Nobody chases a cow down the road to chew on its leg. The only difference is the stuff he's eating is so bacteria-ridden it would make us sick, which is why he has that bald head. He's sticking that head inside rotting meat. He doesn't want to get any of that on his feathers. He cleans his legs in kind of a weird way. He pees down himself, which is why we named him Whizzer. Now, Whizzer was sent to us a little over 17 years ago when somebody actually had the nerve to shoot this big, beautiful bird in his left wing. And birds' bones, they're hollow, they're hard to fix, and they just don't heal quite right. So Whizzer here, he can fly a little bit, just not enough to survive on his own out in the wild. That is Whizzer, the beautiful turkey vulture.
Now, we're going to go from beautiful to cute. This is little Maya, and she's about a 40-year-old spider monkey. She's been at our center almost 30 years now. And in 1994, we got a call from LA County Sheriff's Office saying we found a monkey in a dumpster. Apparently somebody threw her away. And this kind of thing happens a lot. So people get monkeys, they try and make them into pets, and they quickly learn why that's not such a good idea. See, monkeys are set up to be the farmers of the rainforest. They're set up by nature to eat fruits, they swallow the seeds, they squeeze the seeds out the other end in a nice little pile of fertilizer, and they do this about every 15 minutes. So this is great if you're trying to plant fruit trees in the rainforest, but as you're planting trees in your couch cushions and around the rest of your house, people get very tired of them. Not to mention the fact that as these monkeys get older, they tend to get an attitude, people get bit, they get sent to the hospital, and if that's not enough, they find out that these monkeys can live 40 to 50 years. So they get rid of them in all sorts of ways. Whether they drop them off at centers like ours, or they get caught by US Fish and Wildlife, or sometimes they just release them into the world, kind of like what happened to Maya here. Now the spider monkey. Can I see your hand? Let me see that hand. She is perfectly set up to hang and swing through the rainforest. She's what's known as a brachiator. She has 4 alien-like fingers that allow her to grab onto the branches, and she can swing through the trees as fast as a horse can run on land. And if that's not enough, she also has the coolest tail in the jungle. Her tail is better than all the other monkeys' tails. It has more knuckles in it than the rest of the monkey species. It is so dexterous that she can pick up something as small as a grain of rice with the tip of her tail, and I see her use it for all sorts of stuff. She hangs by it, she carries food around with it, she scratches her head, every once in a while I catch her picking her nose. I mean, it's a super, super useful tail. Now, whenever we get a monkey into our center, we always try and find other monkeys for them to live with. They're very social animals, they require those social bonds, but because Maya was fed so much of the wrong foods when she was young, she's not as developed as our other spider monkeys. So we had to find her a different type of companion, and eventually we did. Her name is Hobo. She's 54 years old, the only other monkey at our center that's older than Maya, and together we call them the Golden Girls.
This is Hobo, the Weeper Capuchin monkey, and we received Hobo a little over 10 years ago when the person who was using her as an organ grinder monkey in Monterey, California, had to discontinue his practices. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a monkey that gets put in a costume, taken to a public area, and while music plays, they walk around collecting money from people. It used to be a pretty common practice, but has since been frowned upon. Now, because Hobo was so close to the public on a daily basis, her handler actually had all of her teeth removed. So Hobo here, she needs very specialized diets, and she has health issues with that lower jaw, which just goes to show that if you have to alter an animal that much in order to keep it, you probably shouldn't have that animal in the first place. Now, capuchin monkeys are from the rainforests of Central and South America, and unlike Maya, who you just met, she actually has a thumb on both her hands and her feet as well. One of the smartest animals I've ever worked with, but our next guest gives a whole new definition to bird brain.
Now this is Ebu, and what is he? Who? I'm kidding. That's my only owl joke, is to go who. You guys are absolutely right. It is an owl. More specifically, you're looking at the barbed owl. And now this guy here, he came to our center because he was flying free about 20 years ago when he accidentally flew down in front of a car. And the guy, he couldn't stop, and he hit this bird and shattered his left wing. And he scooped him up and took him to a wildlife vet that saved his life. But unfortunately, they couldn't save that left wing of his. And that's why he's with us at our center. Now, Kelsey's not wrong. Owls are kind of the bird brains of the bird world. See, they have the smallest brain compared to skull size out of all the other bird species. But they make up for it in other ways. See, these birds here are perfectly set up to fly and hunt at night. Some things that help them. Number one are those eyes. His eyes are so good at seeing at night that if we turned off all the lights in here, if we made it pitch black, so dark you couldn't see your own hand, and just one little candle, with one little candle in the middle of this big room, this owl could see everything, almost like we see it right now. That's how good his eyes are. But there's a problem with his eyes. His eyes are so big. His eyes take up so much room in his owl's skull, they're actually stuck, facing straight forward. If he wants to look to the left, his whole head turns to the left. The left. If he wants to look to the right, his whole head turns to the right. That's why he has that flexible neck and can turn his head how far? Almost one full rotation all the way around. Now, it's not like the cartoons. He can't go around. If he did that, his head would pop off. But he does have 2 extra neck bones that allow him to turn his head 270 degrees, almost one full rotation all the way around. Now, the weird thing is, all birds can do it. All birds have those extra neck bones. Hawks, eagles, chickens, falcons, pigeons, all of them can turn their head that 270 degrees. The owls are just known for it because it looks a little comical as their flat face is swiveling back and forth. Now, even here an owl this size will eat about 3 to 5 small rodents a night. They're a very important part of the balance of nature. And even though he is such a profound hunter, the one thing he's missing is a sense of smell, which is good because our next guest is the only animal at our center that smells worse than Kelsey does.
That wasn't nice. Now, this is Pepe, the striped skunk, and they get that name because of that beautiful racing stripe down his back. Now, everybody always wants to know the same thing. They want to know about the spray. So I think, instead of talking about it today, I'm going to show you how it works. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am saving that for the end of my career, and it is most definitely going to happen in a junior high school. Now, that spray is his only form of defense. So what he does is if another animal gets too close to him, he throws a fit. Have any of you guys ever thrown a fit before? Yeah, I'm sure you have. Yeah, he stomps his feet. He'll even do handstands, waving this tail in the air, basically saying, back off or I'm going to spray you. And if those warnings aren't listened to, then he sprays. And he can spray up to 15 feet, which means some of you are in his splash zone. Now, normally an animal gets sprayed once, maybe twice, they tend to learn their lesson. The one animal that never ever seems to learn is our dogs. Yeah, I love my dog, but he's been sprayed so many times, I've lost count. Now, there are a few things that you can do to help prevent this from happening. I just apparently have not learned my lesson enough yet. Things like making sure your trash is secure and picking your cat food and dog food up at night as well as bringing your pets inside. Then these guys will waddle on through your yards, eating things like slugs, snails, and other pests, and they'll become helper animals rather than problem animals. Now, we're going to head on off stage because we really don't like this next guest.
This is Precious. And Precious here, she's a snake. She's one of these snakes that makes kind of a rattling noise. And when I get her out of her box, you guys might hear her talking to me a little bit. Let's see if she'll rattle. That's weird. Usually when I tap, she rattles. Oh shoot, where did she go? I think that's funny. Teachers don't usually think so. This is Precious, a beautiful snake. I'd say she's striking, but that's a bad idea. You're about to meet one of my favorite animals on the planet. Check out the Northern Pacific rattlesnake. Woo! Come here, girl. That's better. This is Precious, and isn't she beautiful? I said, isn't she beautiful? Yeah, you don't want to hurt her feelings now. Now, Precious here. She actually came to our center because there was a man out weed whacking his lawn, and he accidentally cut her across her tail really, really badly. Almost cut her tail completely off. But he bravely scooped her up in a box, and he took her to Walmart. Yeah, Walmart. I mean, Walmart is the largest retailer in the nation. Speed it up, Florida. That's a good joke. Retailer. No. He scooped her up and he took her to a wildlife vet that saved his life, or saved her life, but unfortunately when she strikes for her prey, she misses. Now, we're having a big problem with kids and rattlesnakes right now. Lots and lots of kids are getting bit by rattlesnakes. And it's because there's too many snakes? No, it's because there's too many kids. It's not that either. I actually think it's videos showing people handling venomous reptiles. Some of them can be great and educational, but I think kids are getting the wrong idea and thinking it's okay to try. See, most of the bites that happen on people's hands, and that shows me that they were trying to pick that animal up. Now, keep in mind, there's enough venom in this snake's mouth to kill a cow. It's an animal to be respectful of, but it's one that we can and should be able to peacefully live right alongside of. Anyways, that's Precious, and here comes Not So Precious. Oh, I meant Kelsey, not the leader. Come here, Samantha. This I'm just tripping today. This is Samantha, and she's the brown lemur. Now, if you look at those eyes, do you think she's awake during the day, or do you think she's awake at night? That's what I think too, with those big, yellow, owl-like eyes. She looks like a nocturnal or a nighttime creature, but she's not. She's actually diurnal. And she gets up in the mornings, and the first thing that she does is she says hello to every member of her lemur family. And how one lemur says hello to another lemur? Well, do you guys want to see? Yeah. Are you sure you want to see? It's a little bit weird. I'm going to make it sound like a pig. She's going to answer me back. Then she's going to do something rather strange. You guys sure you want to see this? Yeah. All right, the things I do for an audience. Ready, Samantha? First she answered my pig-like grunt, and then she licked inside my nose. Now, since we're all close here at SeaWorld, how about everybody turn to the person next to you and say hello? Don't do this. I got in big trouble with a preschool group because I couldn't get them to stop. The lemurs, they get up, they say hello to every member of their family, then they go off looking for food. Now for her, she doesn't want to use the ground. Where she lives, there are fossa, a jungle cat-like creature that loves to eat lemurs. There's also crocodiles by the water's edge. So when she gets around, she uses the trees. And how she gets from one tree to the next is she jumps. Sometimes they're even called leaping lemurs. Amazing, amazing jumping ability. Ready, Samantha? How's that? No, let's show them a real jump. Come here, girl. Oh, she's cheating. No cheating. Big jump. Big jump. Yes. Check for crocodiles. Woo! Yeah. Don't clap for that. That for her was nothing. But Samantha here, she's about a 27-year-old lemur. She's very, very old. So we don't ask her to do super far jumps anymore. But when she was younger, she could jump from my shoulder and she can land on the table all the way over there. And as she jumps through the air, she uses this big, beautiful, long tail of hers to keep her balance as she's bounding through the canopies out there in Madagascar. Now, Samantha here, came to our center because there was a man in Palmdale, California, who decided it would be an okay idea to take a lemur, an endangered species, and keep her in a cage in his garage. Now, does that sound fair to her? No, this girl here, I love her a lot, but she should be roaming the canopies of Madagascar, licking other lemurs' noses. That is where she truly belongs. Now, does she look like a monkey? Not so much. She actually is a primitive type of primate, and there are over 105 different species of lemurs. All of them have two things in common. They are only found in Madagascar, nowhere else on our planet, and every single species of lemur is endangered in the wild. If we don't do something fairly quickly, we could actually lose these beautiful creatures during our lifetime.
Now, did you guys enjoy those animals? I hope you did. I hope you learned something. But we like to end each and every show with just a little something that you guys can do to help keep our environment clean and our animals safe. Things like picking up garbage and making sure that you're recycling.
Or if you find a sick or injured animal in the wild, get it to a wildlife rescue center. There are literally thousands of places set up to give the animals the proper care they need and hopefully get them back out into the wild.
These few things, and we can coexist with animals right alongside of us, and I think that makes the world a really cool place to live.
Thank you guys so much for being a very fun audience, and enjoy the rest of your day here at SeaWorld.